Welcome, everybody. We're really happy to have you here at the Greenbrier. I mean, this is such a perfect place to kind of kick off our season and have all our players together and spend, 24/7 really bonding together. Is such a great way to start our season, but really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, good to see everybody, and I think first, I guess, Kevin and then Andrew, I think have laid the good base for what is going on in the football world, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say how proud we were of Deshaun yesterday. He has come a long way in the last year. He has worked extremely hard on being a better person, a better man, a better teammate, and I think all of us have gone through ups and downs in life, and I think you learn a lot more when you go through the downs, and I think you see a different Deshaun Watson today than you saw a year ago. So we have been witnessing that along. It was good. He did a tremendous job in the team meeting on Saturday night, and I thought a nice job with you all yesterday. So we'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Jimmy, how has he come a long way?
Oh, I think personal development. I think he has learned a lot about himself and what he can and can't do. I think he's learned who you can trust and who you can't trust. I think Deshaun has always been humble. I think he's even more humble. And I'll be honest, I think the time away from football, the time away from teammates, etc., he now values that more than he ever has. Not that he didn't before. And you can see Deshaun, who's always been a leader, and last year was in an awkward scenario. Was he going to be here? Was he not going to be here? Jacoby was a pretty good leader in his own right, and he was kind of in Never Never Land. And this year you can see him emerging as the team leader. He's definitely one of the hardest workers on the team. So we're excited.
You suggested last year that with counseling you might see the allegations against him differently. So a year later, do you think that's the case? Have you asked him if that's the case?
No, I mean, he spends a lot of time in counseling, and I leave all that to the professionals. I mean, his counselor evidently he's grown really close to, and I think he has learned. He has said over and over, I have learned so much, and hopefully he'll continue to grow through that process.
So Jimmy, do you consider this kind of like the first official year of the Watson era with the team?
That's probably fair to say, Tony. I mean, last year was tough, right? It was tough on all of us. And Deshaun was certainly the toughest on him, tough on our coaching staff, tough on our players. Big adjustment between Jacoby and Deshaun. So I think that's fair to say.
Jimmy,
might be the first time we've agreed.
Sorry, the roster is loaded with talent. You guys have made a massive investment into this team. Is this kind of a now or never year?
I think Mary Kay asked me the same question at the spring meetings. I think it's really dangerous to say now or never. The NFL is unbelievably competitive. In our division, I mean, just Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, us, as most people think is the toughest division. So do we feel the best about our roster as we have going into this year? Do I think Andrew and Paul and Kevin have done a great job? We do. Are we excited about this year? Yes. To say it's now or never, I think would be grossly unfair. But we're excited about the year.
How do you feel like your relationship with Andrew and Kevin have grown over these last 3+ years?
Well, I think relationships take time, right? And so we're now entering our 4th year, and so that's a positive. And I'll be honest, what we went through last year, and really the whole Deshaun decision-making process, and then working through was going to be what was the punishment going to be, and then working through that was difficult. And I think as a team, when you go through something like that, you either become stronger and closer, or you splinter apart. And I could definitely say with us, it's important.
Is there a dividing line where one side is a reasonable expectation and the other side is not acceptable this year?
Here's what I would say is, and I think you all know Andrew and Kevin pretty well. We obviously know better because we work with them every day and work with them closely. They have incredibly high expectations for themselves, and I'm comfortable with their expectations of themselves. I really am. I mean, these guys are winners. They've been winners before. They've done well in everything they've done. They expect to do well. Our assistant coaches expect to do well. Our players expect to do well, and we'll leave it at that.
Doing well can not necessarily mean the playoffs.
I'm not going to go there, Tony. I'm not going to. It's just that's not fair to anybody can do. It could be extremely extenuating circumstances. I just say we're all excited about this year.
But can you, and how do you take the record out of the equation when you evaluate?
The record will come into play it is not just Kevin or Andrew or Paul, it's us too. The record will come into play at some point in time. How much you've waited, I wouldn't want to say. I mean, are we playing well at the end of the year? Did we have injuries? How do we feel about our momentum? I was sitting here thinking the other day, what is it, 6.5 weeks till our first game? And our last game's something like January 10th, our last regular season game. We hope to play after that. It's a long, long season, okay? Long, long season.
Jimmy, how did you decide to come back with Kevin? You had back-to-back losing seasons. And
Yeah,
also,
it was an easy decision.
The other part there, you did change both coordinators, so.
We changed 2 of the 3 coordinators, yeah. It was an easy decision. There was never a thought not to bring Kevin back. We like him. Well, I think he's a good coach. And I mean, he proved it in the first year, did a tremendous job. Second year, we had some bumps and bruises with Baker and his injury, et cetera. And last year was it was difficult. I mean, you all been here 2 days now, and listen, I'm not saying things are easy. They're not, Terry. You've been around this a long time, but we're in a much better position just overall than we were last year.
Jimmy, with the roster, this being the best roster that you guys have ever had in your ownership tenure, and probably the best coaching staff from top to bottom, doesn't it stand to reason that expectations would be greater, that the bar would be set a little bit higher for this season?
Absolutely. I'm not saying the expectations aren't high. I'm just not going to draw a line for you guys what they are. I mean, they're high. All of us have high expectations. I mean, everybody that works for the Browns that's here has high expectations today. Okay?
Where do things stand with the stadium? It's like, where do things stand with the stadium?
We're really working hard with the city and the county and the state to work out a plan to continue to develop and remodel our stadium on the lakefront. So we're working through it. I mean, it's really complex, really hard, a lot of details, and we look forward to continuing our conversations with the city on how we develop the lakefront. We think we're an integral part of the lakefront, a really important part, and we want to be part of the process.
The state funding for the land bridge that you guys would like to see built got taken out this time around. How does that project affect your calculus in regards to the stadium because you want to develop around it, and would you still be open to building a new stadium on an alternate site if that doesn't come together?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, we want to continue to have the conversations about how we remodel the stadium and stay vibrant on the lakefront. We think it's really critical for the community. The lakefront is just an important process. Outside of us, the lakefront in Cleveland has to be developed. You need a vibrant city. That's a really important part of who Cleveland should be. And I think the connection bridge needs to happen. Regardless of what happens with our stadium, that has to happen.
So right now, a new stadium just is not in the thought process.
I mean, I think it's premature to say that because we're really focused on staying on in downtown on the lakefront, but I can't predict what's going to happen because it's really complex.
I would say this. Let me just say one thing. Dee said it well. Is these are big, complex projects, okay, and they're going to be a public-private partnership, okay, and getting that right is not easy. We do have experience from having done it down in Columbus, okay, and did it quickly, and that was not easy. It was done during COVID, et cetera, but brand new stadium, sell out every game, all-star game there. There's going to be substantial multifamily retail and office development around it. That's ended up being a win. These things take time. The only thing Dee and I would say for sure is we're not leaving Northeastern Ohio, okay? That's for sure. Our preference is to be on the lakefront, but you got to see how things play out. And it will be fluid, and there will be bumps on the road, and it may be different in 3 months than it is now, Daryl. I will say this. Dave Jenkins, Ted Tai Wong from our business legal side speak almost daily, weekly for sure, with the mayor, the county mayor, lieutenant governor, governor. We are all talking to them on a regular basis.
And I would say that we are great partners in Columbus with the city, county, and state, and I think that's our goal here too. Is how can we be great partners working with them?
In terms of the lakefront development, was it discouraging that the mayor's plan to have this commission to talk about lakefront development plans apparently was botched by the county? Vetoed by the county?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Listen, when you work through a public process, it's by nature and probably good that it's messy. Okay, it's just going to be that way. There's going to be bumps and bruises, and it's going to take some time. And we have some time. The important thing is to get it right.
How much will a winning football team help with that?
Doesn't
I don't
In
know.
terms of, you know, just fostering.
I think it helps some, but I mean, you've been here at Mary Kay longer than we have. I mean, we have unbelievable fans. The support for the Browns is tremendous, and I think it really comes down to dollars and cents, like a lot of decisions.
The city of Cleveland bears a tremendous burden because you play in their building, so they're, by terms of the lease, they're responsible for that building. Is there consideration to maybe somehow find a way, because it is a regional team, you know, it is a region, to find maybe an alternate way of regionalizing that public-private partnership rather than just leaning solely on the city of Cleveland?
And what do you mean by that?
As far as, you know, helping with the, you know, the financial costs of whatever it is.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
guys would like to do.
you know, I think you know this, but it's not just the city, okay? And you know, the city of Cleveland's a smaller entity, obviously, than Cuyahoga County, and certainly than the state of Ohio. So I think it starts with the city, but we've spent plenty of time talking to the new county mayor and lots of time talking to the lieutenant governor and the governor. So there has to be 3 different funding sources, and that's the way it worked in our stadium in Columbus.
Jimmy, both of you, how have you, you know, getting back to Deshaun a little bit, how have you guys worked to kind of maybe grow closer to him, you know, learn more about him beyond what you knew about him a year ago, you know, when you first acquired him?
You know, I mean, look, we care about all our players, and not just how well they do on the field, but you know how they do off the field, and how they feel about their personal lives, and we try to get to know all the players. I mean, there's a limit to how much time we spend with them, but Deshaun is, you know, an integral part of the team. We do talk to him on a regular basis, but again, we like to talk to all our players. We like to be part of the conversation. They're really good men.
With him being in what he said, a good headspace, and you guys saying you've seen such a development from him on the field, do you feel like he's ready to meet the expectations that come with the trade and the contract?
It's probably a better question for Kevin. You know, I mean, seriously, yeah. I mean, somebody asked how Deshaun's doing so far, and I said, well, in the NFL, when you're just throwing on air, you better hit every pass right now. You got a major problem. So I think so far so good. That's probably a much better question for Kevin.
Well, you guys talk about the long term and, you know, being patient for the long year, right? But for you, how much have you guys learned to value patience in terms of the product and maybe the people? Is that something that you guys have?
I think Jimmy's really learned more patience. No, I mean, I think being patient is very much part of the process, but you know, you still have your expectations in there, and you can't help but really have these expectations of the team. So I mean, being patient obviously is keeping everybody together has been really important for the development of this team.
How confident are you that Kevin Stefanski is the right coach to take you guys where you need to go?
Highly confident. I really do. I think he's I mean, being a head coach in the NFL is hard because generally you have a specialty, and Kevin's specialty is offense, quarterbacks, calling plays, etc. But you also have to be a leader of men, and I think he's really good at both. And I don't want to be negative toward their predecessors, but I think Jim Schwartz and Bubba Trone are going to be big helps to us. I do. I mean, they have great track records. Bubba was here as a player, Mary Kay, when we first bought the team. We've known him a long time. We've interviewed Schwartz to be a defensive coordinator, a head coach. He actually lived in Nashville for a while, somebody we've known well. So I think both of them are going to help, not just Kevin, but help our team a lot. And we're excited to have them both here.
What's your reaction to the reaction to the white helmets?
Yeah, I'll defer to Dee and JW are the experts on that. They're the creative ones.
I like the white helmets. I think it's really going to be, a nice moment for the team. I don't really focus on worrying about other than that I think it's going to be a great look.
And Dee, I know there's going to be a celebration for Jim Brown next week down in Canton. Are there any plans to honor him during the season at the stadium?
Yes, I mean we will definitely do some kind of something in Cleveland to honor Jim Brown and the commitment he has as one of the greatest players of all time, of course.
And actually, we wanted to do something right after Jim died, and for a variety of reasons, schedules, everybody, Monique wasn't quite ready, it got put off, but I can't really think of a better way to do it than do it in Canton. You know, whether Jim Jim Brown's definitely the greatest Brown of all time, and arguably the greatest NFL. To do it in Canton, a lot of the Gold Jackets will be there. I think is appropriate to honor his legacy. So we're actually, it's the NFL, it's the Hall of Fame, and the Cleveland Browns doing it, and we're honored to be part of that. And it's appropriate, Tom, to do it that way.
What have you seen? You've worked with Andrew Berry for a long time. What have you seen from him just over the years, and also going through the whole Deshaun thing?
In terms of,
It's an open-ended question.
this is what I would say about Andrew. I have to remind myself that he's younger than all our children, Terry, because you know he's one of those. We all know people. You wonder, were they ever a kid? And Andrew is mature beyond his years. He's very bright. He's extremely conscientious. He's all about growing and how do I get better, and he is relentless too. I mean, I see it when he goes after something, whether it's negotiating a contract or trying to get a player, and not just Deshaun level, lower level players. And I think he's going to be a really, really good GM. Here again, he's entering his 4th year. What is AB? 36. He's 36 years old, and I think he's going to be really good. And
what have you seen too then when you talk about, remember the past was internal discord and this kind of stuff that was a phrase you guys threw out, with Dee Podesta and then Barry?
We have, listen, if there needs to be some tension, right?
Yeah.
This is hard and there's pressure and we want to win. So I'm sure there's days they go home thinking, God, I hope I never have to talk, I don't want to talk to him again about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's life. But I think the three of them work together extremely well, and they're all about winning. They're not about themselves. And as long as you're that way, we're going to be good. So I feel, you know, the proof's in the pudding. We'll see this year for all the entire organization. But we're excited about the organization, the team, and where we're headed.
Well, along those lines, I mean, you've had the same GM for 4 years, the same coach for 4 years. It seems like you have your franchise quarterback. Is this the most stable things have felt for you guys?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you guys have been around. You've seen a lot. Yes.
What's the market like for naming rights right about now? Stadium?
Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
So we're in the market. We're in the market, and here again, Dave Jenkins and his team are working on that as we speak. I have no idea how quickly or not so quickly they're going to go, but excited about seeing who our new partner will be.
Can you summarize how you guys feel about, you know, Hall of Fame festivities coming up, Joe going in, and the game, and the big weekend that you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, we are so excited for Joe Thomas. I mean, this is obviously well-deserved, represents our team, you know, just such a great player, great man. So we're excited to be part of the festivities and to honor him. He is so excited about it. So it's good. It's fun to watch somebody be so proud and so excited about it.
Yeah, and to do it right in our backyard, where a lot of our fans can go, and you all probably all have been. It's a cool ceremony, and if you think about that whole time period, we had the Jim Brown ceremony on Thursday. We play Thursday night. Joe gets inducted on Saturday. You're having a party for him Saturday night. It'll be a great weekend. I think Dee and I told him is I think what says the most about Joe Thomas is who's presenting him for the award, and it's his family, and that's just about as cool as it gets, I think, because you know Joe has been around a lot of great players, coaches, etc. He could have picked anybody and picked his family. I think it says a lot. So Cleveland Brown forever, and good for him, well deserved.
Jimmy, what's been like the last few months in the NBA ownership?
Well, when the first game of the playoffs, your star player goes down in 30 seconds. That's not good. It's been interesting and it's been a good learning experience. We did not know very much about the NBA, and excited about our partnership and excited about our team. You know, your key players got to stay healthy at the end of the year, and unfortunately, we caught a bad break. But excited about our new coach and our organization.
Thank you, guys.
Good to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you.